to wins when the Wildcats are swinging it well. And on the other side, the Dukes, as we mentioned, getting some offense going as well. Kate Gordon really leading the charge, had 3 home runs in that upset win over Tennessee.
Who doesn't love their leadoff, having 3 bombs in a game? And I think for JMU, the offensive showdown that they've shown the world this weekend is what this team needs moving forward, especially with Megan Good healthy and back in the circle.
Well, in their opening game of the season, they had a surprise loss to Cal, but since then, 3-0. You see the runs scored at a total of 15 with only allowing just 4. And Megan Good, she will stand in the circle for first. And for the 3-time All-American, many excited to see her back after missing last season.
She is one of my favorites and has been, and I think for her, this year is so important coming back after that injury for her to get to the World Series. And I mean, easier said than done, but she is as good as anyone to be able to get there. And I think what this team has struggled with a little bit has been the offense piece. And when they get late in postseason, there is that extra added pressure. But she's taken that full year off, recovered, and come back this weekend, and I'm impressed.
Well, she will have to watch out for this Kentucky starting lineup presented by St. Pete Clearwater. Mallory Peyton, the first baseman, hitting in the 6th hole, has 4 home runs in this invitational this weekend. So steadily improving each season are these Wildcat batters. Made a big jump last year. And Kayla Kowalik, a new face in the program for head coach Rachel Lawson, leads it off here. And Kayla Kowalik out of Texas, a multi-sport athlete in high school.
Good. One of the hardest throwing pitchers in the nation and at this tournament. She throws in the high 60s, can cruise at 70 a little bit. Just such an experienced pitcher. Can throw the ball on all quadrants.
101 career wins for the 5th-year senior out of Mount Sidney, Virginia. Was the 2017 National Player of the Year. And we talked about JMU's offense starting to pick up. A lot of folks excited to see what they can do with both Good back in the circle and another All-American pitcher in Odyssey Alexander as well on the staff.
Well, and Alexander last year getting a lot more innings, I'm sure, than she anticipated due to Good's injury. So it only helps that she was able to get that experience last year and bring that into this year and have someone that she can continue to learn from in Good. But that 1-2 weapon together, both them hitting pitchers, you got to love it.
Well, the Dukes, as we mentioned, starting their season this weekend, picked to finish first in the Colonial Athletic Association as they brought home the hardware last year. Eliminated out of that Knoxville Regional a season ago as they dropped to Tennessee, so kind of returning the love back this year. Kowalik grounds over to short, and the throw in time from Sarah Jubis. 1 down. Jubis, the sophomore, out of Pennsylvania. Was a part of the CAA All-Rookie team a year ago. And now Katie Reed at the plate for the Wildcats, an All-American herself, also a scholar athlete as well.
And speed a little bit down that I've noticed for good. I mean, my good buddy Kayla Bro was calling her game and we were texting each other. She's like, you wouldn't believe it, but Megan Good's like pumping 70.
And just dropped behind the dish as Kirsten Roadcap had the second out in her glove and lets it get away. And now Katie Reed gets another crack at it.
You see here, it's just a little bit, that mask, she's looking up, not able to come up. That's definitely a play that needs to be made, but.
Another pop-up, this one high, and this time grabbing it is Lexi Lomax, 2 down. Freshman out of Virginia says, I'll take care of that one, as Jenny Shaper, the catcher for the Wildcats, at the plate. And Shaper for the tournament has had 4 hits, and this time hit by the pitch, so she will take first base.
And this hurts. She didn't even like hesitate. Just walked right to first. Upper 60s right there on the elbow.
Not that anybody wants to get hit, but certainly she's used to maybe taking a couple as she sits behind the plate for the Wildcats. Now that brings up the 4-hole hitter, cleanup spot, Abby Cheek. Cheek with big-time power, went yard yesterday. Second most home runs in school history. There's one of those players that you look around on a roster and say, man, Abby Cheek, she's still there. And for the Wildcats, they say, oh, yeah, we're happy that she is here. Also second best in RBI in school history with 155 runs batted in. You know she wants to add more to that total right now.
Well, and she's chasing the home run record set by Brittany Cervantes, who's now on staff, Kentucky alumni.
And Cheek ahead in the count, or even with the count 2-2. The ground over and just through the legs of Jubis. So the error by the shortstop. And 2 on for Alex Martins.
We've been seeing a lot of errors here today, just little uncharacteristic ones. And that ball got the double hop. Didn't charge it, wasn't able to read the hop well enough. Another error, they had the catcher miss that one, and then at the shortstop position, and got to shore up the defense.
And for many of these teams, like Kentucky, they already came in having played a few more games. But this is the opening weekend for James Madison, carrying a record of 3-1 on the year. As we mentioned already, beating Oregon and Tennessee. Good look there at Lauren Laporte in her second year as head coach. Last year's CAA Coach of the Year. And 2 straight strikes from Megan Good.
And she has a little off-speed pitch, hits a great spot on the corner, gets back in this. 2s across the board.
The 2s have it. And going up and chasing that one was Alex Martins. Strikeout number 1 for Megan Good. More importantly, Kentucky with no runs. A couple more games going on each field. Both Kentucky and JMU in action, along with Hofstra and Utah. As the Pride on top, 3-0. So many games coming your way. Many more to come with our nightcap later tonight between Tennessee and FSU. Autumn Humes in the circle, the junior who played her freshman season at the D2 level, now stands in.
Lynn Humes definitely getting a lot of experience. She's pitched in the postseason.
As we take a look at the starting lineup for James Madison, presented by St. Pete Clearwater. And Kate Gordon, who hit 3 home runs yesterday, including an inside the park homer, leads it off for the Dukes. And that was a huge win for James Madison, their first win over a top 10 opponent since taking down LSU back in the 2016 Super Regional.
You're going to see just a little bit of a different look coming from Humes in comparison to Good. Good throws the heat. Humes throws 60-61, works on her spots, keeps the ball down.
And kept it down there, inducing the ground out to Gordon. And Humes also has the luxury of having a very good defense behind her. One of the best in the country last year. This Kentucky infield especially does not commit a lot of errors. And Cambry Arnold now at the plate. That deflection off of Shaper's mask, and Rachel Lawson with a quick check of her catcher. She says she's good, so coach will head back to the dugout. It's a tough position back there for sure, as Jenny Shaper, one of the captains on this team for Kentucky.
Oh yeah, she just got hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
Then she gets behind the dish, gets hit in the face. That's why I did not choose catcher. You're constantly getting scuffed around.
Arnold, and once more, Abby Cheek busy early on. She helps to retire the second batter.
And she's just testing the defense here. A lot of speed. Cheek, just a gun from third.
And now Odyssey Alexander coming up in that DP position. All-American, as we mentioned, also the CAA Player of the Year in her sophomore campaign. Big hack there, swing and a miss.
Well, and the difference for her is her freshman year coming in, only 92 innings pitched, but the year that Megan Good was gone last year with injury, I mean, she had over 200 innings. So she was the one that this team really looked to. So the combination of those two together, I think, can be a scary thing.
No doubt, both. She and Peyton Beresch combined for 43 wins without Good. As Alexander was the Player of the Year, Beresch was the Rookie of the Year out of the league. That ball low. Just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
Coach Lawson calls all the pitches, pitching coach for Kentucky. 2016 SEC Coach of the Year. And she's one of my most fun coaches when I get the chance. Like I said, I've got to call Kentucky's last 2 postseasons when they went to Oregon. And I just love how open and honest. Like, I don't ever feel like she's not telling me something. She calls a spade a spade. And her and I we just sit and chat. Because there are a lot of coaches that you'll try to like talk to and they try to like hide stuff. And you know that they're hiding stuff. And I just feel like Lawson like lays it all out on the line. I mean, we knew the lineup how long before the game started? Like, hey, this is my team. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about you. You don't hold any punches either, Danielle.
I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but...
The 2-out walk to Alexander.
Maybe that's why her and I get along so well.
Yeah.
Coach Lawson and I.
Good.
She's done a great job there, and her now 12th season in Lexington. Megan Good can help out her own cause. Yesterday, she went 2 for 3, including a solo shot, en route to picking up her second win of the season. There's so many players that we've seen this weekend. The USA Softball Collegiate National Player of the Year watch list. Good among them.
Go, go, go!
Shaper tried to frame that one. Megan Good, though, against Tennessee. One of those that left the park.
Well, and that didn't even look like she got all of it. See how she didn't even stay fully extended in her legs? It just shows the power that she has. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I was going to say, how many ways can we say that she is good? And look, the wind is blowing out. Nice breeze here from the Eddie Seymour Complex. Those beautiful palm trees. As big rip there.
And I think that this is going to be a fun year to watch Megan Good. I mean, she was a top 10 finalist for Freshman of the Year. Then she was a top 10 finalist for Player of the Year in 2016. 2017, she was a top 3 finalist. So it'll be interesting to see how her senior year stacks up.
Going over to the right side of the field and in time from Martins. So Odyssey, Alexander left on base, and it's all knotted at 0.
these were my top pitchers so far this tournament. The ones that I've chose. Maria Lopez, no-hitter. She's the best across the board. Jordan Dale surprised me a little bit with Oregon, throws a no-hitter. And of course, Megan Good. She's one of my favorites this year. Those who I think have stood out the most this weekend to me.
And do you find, like, overall, what are you expecting the pitching to be like? Again, Kelly Barnhill's not here, the National Player of the Year a season ago, and Rachel Garcia, a couple of good ones out in Washington. Megan King, we got a chance to see for Florida State.
I think that these are all Women's College World Series teams. You know, all the ones you just named with those pitchers. I mean, you never know, but for the most part, when you have that experience in the circle, there's a good chance you're going to make it to the Women's College World Series. And I mean, Kelly Barnhill not making Team USA this year, I think her mission, I want to win a national championship with Florida. Amanda Lorenz, a senior.
And I think Danielle, even more so, obviously, you used to throw gas, but your favorite hitter of the tournament, or this invitational now at the plate, in Mallory Peyton.
You have to give credit when credit's due. Peyton, 4 bombs that she's had in the last couple games that she's played. She's unreal. She's just gotten so much better as this tournament's gone on.
You hope it can continue and carry throughout the season, as that one trails foul. She had a grand slam, her second of her career, against Utah Friday.
See that one coming in at 71. On the hands, that's a tough pitch. See if she can go away with a little changeup here. She's gone in hard on Peyton's hands twice.
Again, pulls it foul. That's so fun about this weekend. That's what's so great, is that not only is it top 25 matchups and we're getting it in February, but we're seeing, you know, some of the best go head to head early on. We know that they're only going to grow and get better as Peyton draws the walk.
And that's why I was happy that Megan Good was starting today. I didn't think, you know, they've been going every other. And I like that she's going up against this Kentucky offense. You can see what she's made of on the last day.
Last day of 2019. Good news is it'll be back in 2020 here. With Kelsey Hinson going opposite field and foul.
I mean, this tournament, I feel like, has to stay. This just adds, it's just another level. I mean, we have kind of those staple tournaments, Mary Nutter, Palm Springs. There's so many, that Cal State Fullerton tournament, but this is one for this side. You know, most teams travel west. It's nice to get these teams in this stature right out in February. Not to mention, people get to watch softball on TV in February.
I'll be so interested to see the teams that are fielded here for next year, and I think that announcement will be revealed throughout the season. More than 1,200 games in our ESPN network, says Kelsey Hinson. Swings through that one. Megan Good fans her second batter of the day.
I know you can't get enough of me, so I'll try to get Team Canada, see if maybe they can make an appearance at this tournament.
Is it required that you have to get that in once a broadcast?
Well, no, I just know you like me.
I do.
You want to see me? It's been too long.
It has. Can't get enough of you.
No. Ditto.
Lauren Johnson over to third And Alexei Lomax gets her in time.
Just challenging the defense here, just making the routine play. Runner advances, but 2 outs on the board.
So far, kind of slow moving here early on. Just an easy pace here for both Kentucky and JMU. Good look there at Rachel Lawson. Her team at an even 500, wanting to head back to the Bluegrass State with a win. So Autumn Hughes both in the circle and at the plate. Takes ball 1.
Another reason why you just love those hitting pitchers is because they're pitchers. They think the game, they know the game. So for Hume stepping in to face Good, she thinks like a pitcher. I really miss those two-way players. Not a lot of pitchers these days are picking up the stick and helping out the cause on the other end for themselves. I think it just like takes away some of the pressure too when you get to go help yourself out. Say you give up a bomb, but you're like, man, I have an opportunity to come in and maybe get up to bat and either hit in an RBI to tie this game up, just to help myself out.
Humes taking all the way. Now 3 balls and a strike. And 2 walks in the inning for Megan Good. She walked Mallory Peyton to lead it off, and now here, the 9-hole hitter, and that brings up the top of the order in Kayla Kowalik.
Running for the Wildcats is number 2, Bailey Vick. The next batter, number 99.
And so Bailey Vick
Kowalik.
will come in to run at first base, the flex. When Danielle, as these substitutions are taking place, what teams have kind of impressed you most from the games that you've called or just seen?
Florida State's definitely been a team that I've enjoyed watching. I mean, they're kind of the obvious teams. OU, I mean, offensively, defensively, that team has been a lot of fun. I mean, surprisingly, Oregon, I think, came in here and did some damage. Dale with the no-hitter and the big win against LSU. I like that spin, the screw on the outside corner. Zone maybe a little bit tighter, so she's got to try to find how to bring that in a little bit.
And with 2 on and 2 out for Kentucky. Quick meeting in the circle. From when you saw Megan Good before, are you noticing anything different about her today?
Well, I mean, we're on the last day, and not that I'm saying that she's tired, but she's coming off throwing yesterday. She's throwing back-to-back games. That's definitely hard to come out on the last day and be sharp, but the best pitchers in this game are the ones that are to win maybe if they have a B+, A- game, right? Like, you're never going to go out and everything's moving. We're cruising at 70. But if you can control what you can control, which is where that ball is going to go, and take ownership of that, I think that you're in a good place. So it's not so much that she's completely different. She may not be as sharp as she normally is. I mean, she's walked 2 this inning. But I think that that's also trying to figure out that umpire's strike zone. Her ball moves quite a bit, and I think she's missing up in the zone too much. Maybe locate that changeup a little bit more for a strike to help out her other movement pitches.
Matt Johnson behind the plate. And Kowalik swings away at that one.
And when it gets down to the wire, when it gets down to the, JMU makes the tournament, they go into the postseason, speed is something that teams can hit, right? So the difference for pitchers like Megan Good is, can I have ultimate control over my changeup? I can throw the ball 70 miles an hour, but the best teams are going to hit that.
And there, hit by Kowalik into left field. And there to catch it was Kate Gordon, 5'6" coming up for the Dukes. A little dolphin action from the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Nothing like getting your feet wet in the water, in the Gulf of Mexico, always so warm. The competition continuing to heat up here as Hofstra and Utah in action. Florida State will take on FAU before the final game of the Invitational, as the second-ranked Seminoles will take on 6th-ranked Tennessee. Many people looking forward to that one, as Beth Mowens, Michelle Smith, Amanda Scarborough, and Holly Rowe will be our crew for the nightcap. Kirsten Roadcap, the towering fly ball to left field, and one away. I think, Danielle, you mentioned before that, playing in an event like this was something that a lot of players welcome, something that you welcome, given the fact that when you get into conference play, it's a bit of a grind.
It's extremely tough. So it's kind of like, this is where you're able to take, and you're going into February and you really, really love softball, right? It's like, I missed it. We haven't got to play. And you go and you get the chance to play these teams one time. And the beauty of that is there's not a lot of history on you. It is when you get to conference, when you pretty much are in a boxing match, and it's just a continuous, you're beating up on each other, and that's when it gets to be the mental grind. And then when that postseason hits, you kind of get that little extra, ooh, this is nice, because you're playing teams that maybe you're not as familiar with. But this is always, I always love preseason stuff. You go to the Sun.
And Hannah File right back up the middle with an 0-2 count. And she's aboard safely at first.
An 0-2, I mean, she goes down and gets his drop ball. Not a bad pitch, just needs to be located a little bit more on the inside part of the plate. The File just hits this right back up the middle.
And now the lefty at the plate up, and Natalie Cutright. Cutright swings and gets a piece of that one.
And I will say, watching JMU swing the bats, they are not getting cheated. Like, these are hammer hacks. Like, when she just swung at that, she was trying to go deep. And, I mean, you love that you're coming up and you're not getting cheated, right? That's the one thing your coach wants you to do, is go up to bat and not get cheated. Go after your pitch.
Very aggressive swinging here. 0-2 count to Cutright. Foul back once more. Good look from the outfield, pushing into home plate. Autumn Hughes delivering.
like that 0-2 pitch, goes upstairs. It's just changing the eyesight of the hitter. See, she takes this kind of way up out of the zone, but Cutright was looking. You saw her hands go a little bit. She throws that drop down in the zone. She's definitely getting her thinking. I think if she's able to get that up a little bit, she can get her swinging, but she's setting herself up for that next pitch. I think she can freeze her in the outer half.
And just extending the arms to get a piece of that one, and Cutright sends it to the fence. And she comes in to second base, the double for Cutright. So now runners at second and third here.
Oh, and what an at-bat. And she knew she's gone in, setting it up to go away. Sweet stroke through that, takes it dead center. Just laces this right to the warning track. Runners in scoring position here.
And now here's the second baseman, Madison Ellis. That just gets past Shaper, just may have tipped the end of her glove, and in the process, JMU plates their first run. Hannah Files scores that one. I'm trying to give a little explanation back to the dugout as to what happened exactly. Ellis, as Cheek looks the runner back to third, and 2 away. Unfortunate for Autumn Humes, that pass ball allowed JMU to come across home to give the Dukes a 1-0 lead. Lexi Lomax, the bottom of the order here. Thought about it, didn't go around. Ball low.
And Humes falling behind here. I mean, you have 2 outs. If you go back to when they had that pass ball, I think it might have been a situation where the catcher was crossed up on a signal or something, because that definitely was strange. But then after that, she's able to get the ball to Cheek and use her defense, but then falls quickly behind 3-0 to the 9-hitter.
Lomax fouls that one out of play. And you see the flags blowing on top of the stands, and Dukes want to try to take advantage of that as it's blowing out. They can lift one up in the air. 3-2 to Lomax. And Humes got her swinging. As Autumn Humes gets out of the jam, the Wildcats, middle of the order coming up. Hofstra and Utah also in action as well, and just an interesting set of events here as the runner kind of caught in between. So where do you go? Well, you got to go to home, make sure nobody crosses the plate, and runner thrown out, and then the Pride pitcher walking back to the circle, and yeah, another tag applied.
I mean, how strange. Utah not up to date with that base running there. I mean, you got a tie ball game. I mean, if there's one thing if you're trying to do it and it's 0-0, but this is a close game and it's important to pick up these big wins. Yes, home was vacant. There was no one there, but 60 feet's a long way when the pitcher's not even in the circle yet.
Right back to good, and Katie Reed is thrown out at first as both JMU and Hofstra coming out of the Colonial Athletic Association.
The next batter, number 6, Jenny Shaper.
Now, Jenny Shaper, who was hit by a pitcher first time up along that left forearm, takes strike one. Well, ball coming over from another field. Suspends play for just a second. Heads up, everybody, and make sure safety first. And now play resumes. Good, recording the first 2 outs of the inning.
The next batter, number 11.
Well, make sure you listen in and also follow at 7 Innings Podcast, a weekly softball podcast with our ESPN Women's College World Series crew. You can find it on the ESPN app, iTunes, wherever you can get your podcast. Make sure you follow at 7 Innings Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, my boy Jimmy. Give me some Jimmy. He needs more love, that's for sure. He does so much. Gets that all set up.
He goes by many names. Jimmy Softball among our favorites, but Jim Piscatelli, we'll say his full government name and give him some credit there. He does an excellent job with the podcast and really the crew overall. I mean, just the love, the dedication, and the commitment to softball coverage has just been excellent. And each year it gets better and better. There's always something new that's being added. So the 7 Innings Podcast got off to a great start a year ago. Okay, we kind of did a mock one here.
Yeah, how'd you like it? How'd you like
on
being
Friday? I mean, it was cool. I was honored to be sitting up there with everybody.
I had to ask to come up on stage. Remember that?
Yeah. Imagine that. Little old me, and then here you have the Olympian and national champion with the Washington Huskies back in 2009.
When I'm honored when I'm up there too. That's how I feel. Love when I get the chance to just listen to those guys. I tune in every week.
And good 1-2-3 inning as she gets the Wildcats power hitter swinging.
These are the matchups you love to see. Good versus Cheek. She gets her here. We'll see what JMU can do.
Welcome back to the 2019 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. Of course, there are a lot of activities in and around the water. Fishermen there trying to catch a little something. Get in where you fit in. The Eddie Seymour Complex will host this invitational next season, February 13th through the 16th. You can find more information on St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invite.com. So during the break, Danielle, you were asking about, do we get a chance to go to the beach a lot? Because I live with my husband and son over in Tampa. Mm-hmm. If a day is like this, we're doing the same thing he's doing.
Going fishing.
Getting a couple dozen shrimp. Boom.
That's awesome.
This casting it off, trying to find some structure. Some light tackle, maybe find some sheep head there. This is it right here. This is the life.
How relaxing is that? With a 2-year-old, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
Because they could fall off the edge, and you just don't want to deal with any of that. But when your kids are old and grown, you just go sit on the dock with your husband, take it in.
But you got to train him early. So he's got his Spider-Man fishing rod ready to go.
Okay, you ready there? 1-7. Go on, go Paige. Count on him, girl.
Well, this is what this area is known for. It's beaches, the tourism. I mean, there just is so much to do around here. A lot of offerings up. We showed you a little bit about the Winter and Hope. There are the stars around this Clearwater area as Gordon is thrown out at first.
The next batter, number 2, Camry Arnold.
And Cheek just has such a strong arm. Gordon goes to reach this and has some speed up the line, so Cheek has to hurry. But leadoff outs.
She's been busy so far today. That run given up last inning by the Wildcats unearned on the pass ball. Now Camry Arnold, the 5'1" junior. The lefty slapper swinging away. Now 1-1. Sister Kaler.
Well, and Arnold does something a little funky when she's in the box. If you watch when she goes towards the pitcher, she kind of does like a little hop ski. And the last person that I remember seeing that used to do that was Vicky Galindo when she played with Cal. But you see how she's running towards the ball, but it's not so much that she's doing a slap. It's like she's kind of Happy Gilmoreing it, right? Like she's creating that momentum, which is hard to do when you have that ball spinning on all cylinders, and especially when you throw it up in the zone to try to get your body on plane. But the last person that I ever saw do that was Vicky Galindo. See her with a little hop. You seen Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, I have. I really like that reference. So that was well done.
That is
by
exactly
you.
what it's like, right?
And the approach to the ball, bing! Hits it over to Abby Cheek once more. And 2 down.
The next batter, number 3, Odyssey Alexander.
First 2 batters for JMU have found out Abby Cheek over at third base. All 4 times retired on the 5-3 put out. If you're scoring at home.
Well, if you're Autumn Humes, you got to know that the last 4 at-bats that you faced them, well, the first 2 anyways, that she's hit it to Cheek, so why would I make that adjustment? I'm still going to hammer you on the inside part of the plate, make you make the adjustment.
This one over to shortstop, and Katie Reed with the gun over to first base. 1-2-3 inning. Coach Lawson of Kentucky will talk with us when you come back. Back here in Clearwater, 1-0 as we head to the top of the 4th, and we're joined by Kentucky head coach Rachel Lawson. And coach, after swinging some big bats on yesterday, Megan Good has held you all hitless, but you've had a couple of free passes. What do you want to see moving forward from the offense?
You know, I like some of our at-bats. We're doing a good job with that. We're not getting enough strung together to make her uncomfortable enough. She's a really good pitcher, and she has an array of pitches and speeds, so it's important that we get her out of her rhythm.
Coach, first time playing in this Clearwater Elite Invitational. What are your thoughts so far on your team in this tournament?
You know, we've done some great things. There's some other stuff that's not really sharp that's costed us in some key situations. So it's nice to be able to take that back into practice, and it's real life. Hey, we better do this better if we're going to, get to where we want to go at the end. So I like that part of it, and plus it really is a postseason atmosphere already, so it helps make you sharp.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
And just during the break, there was some mutual admiration shared between you and Coach Lawson. You mentioned earlier in the broadcast how you both don't hold any punches. Straight talk.
I think I would have enjoyed playing for a coach like her. I mean, I loved where I went, but she seems like a straight shooter.
It'd be interesting to watch a broadcast with you two.
I think you're a straight shooter.
Yeah, but I like to cover it with a little love as Alex Martins grounds over the short. Well, Rachel Lawson just told us that, look, we know we're facing him against a good pitcher. We've seen great pitching all weekend long. These batters just have to stay focused and maybe get a little bit more creative with taking advantage of those opportunities and making those adjustments.
When you can't get more creative than Peyton this weekend. I mean, 7 for 15, 4 bombs, 10 RBIs. I mean, she's definitely a player that's hot right now. Walked her last at-bat, but had a great at-bat against Megan Good. And you're fully aware in the circle, even though you're Megan Good, you know the type of weekend that Peyton's having right now.
And this one nicks her. Thankfully, she has a bunch of equipment in that elbow area. The second hit batter now for Megan Good.
And I mean, those arm guards are great because they do protect them. But I still feel like it does eliminate the inside part of the plate a little bit for pitchers. Because I think if you take that off, it's not the same outcome. She's throwing the ball high 60s. There's no way you're keeping your elbow there. That Evo shield hangs off. It probably gives you about an extra inch over the plate.
And Coach Laporte went to the home plate umpire to have a discussion perhaps about that very thing. Felt like she may have leaned into it a little bit. And, of course, you have a little less fear given the fact that you have something guarding that elbow. On the inside, off the hands. And now 2 down, but a runner in scoring position for Kentucky. And Lauren Johnson coming to the plate. Perhaps an opportunity for Kentucky to even the score. Pinch runner at second base, freshman J.C. Babbs out of Sturgis, Kentucky. One foul and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Johnson. That off-speed offering catches Johnson looking. So after a runner in scoring position. JMU able to get out of the inning. We'll talk with the Dukes head coach Lauren Laporte when we come back. Great sunny Sunday from Clearwater. James Madison on top of Kentucky 1-0 as we head to the bottom half of the inning. And Dukes head coach Lauren Laporte with us now. And coach, thus far your offense looked great against Tennessee, another top 25 matchup. How can they take advantage and add to this lead?
You know, we just got to be patient in our bats. We got to make sure we time her up a little bit. We're a little ahead of the ball. Our barrels are ahead of our hands. So we got to wait back and let the ball travel to our power zone. So that's what we've been talking to hitters about in the last couple innings.
Coach, Megan Good getting back-to-back starts. Just talk about her coming back after that year where she had to redshirt and what she means to this program.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's our leader. You know, she helped our other two pitchers all last year, and then now she's back in that circle, and it's a full team staff right now, and excited about the pitching staff, and everybody has each other's back, and we got to grind this one out, and she's got to figure out what it's like playing on Championship Sunday.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate the time. The CAA Coach of the Year a season ago and spent 7 seasons in total in Harrisonburg, Virginia, second leading this program. And she talked about Megan Good being the leader of this group. Many eyes will be on her as we will continue to talk about her throughout the year, but she's got some help, as Coach alluded to. This is a complete staff, as Odyssey Alexander, an All-American who helps out in the circle too.
And what I loved hearing from Coach Laporte was the fact that Megan Good really helped out the other pitchers. You know, that redshirt year is difficult. She's not playing. She's battling through rehab, injury, all of that. But understanding her presence and what that brings to this team, and even her not playing but being there, elevates that team's game. And I think if she's able to pass on the knowledge to those pitchers and get them in a spot where they feel like they can have success, it's only going to help her when she's come back her senior year. And the fact that they can pitch with a little bit more of a staff instead of all of the pressure on Megan Good, because after a while, I mean, that it can take a toll on you. So to know that, like, hey, if I can't get the job done, Odyssey can come in, look at her numbers. She was the CAA Freshman of the Year. Like, she can come in and have my back, and we're going to do this together.
Yeah, Alexander this weekend, second best ERA of the Invitational at 0.58, just behind Oklahoma's Mariah Lopez. So batter is not having much success against her. And then Peyton Beresch, as you were talking about, Danielle, also one of those young arms. And count even for Megan Good. Good, one of 4 players in top 10 program history in batting average, despite missing last season. So Good and Alexander, along with Cambry Arnold and Kate Gordon. As Good lifts this one into right field, and one down. Kirsten Roadcap, flied out to left in her last at bat.
And I've really liked Humes throughout this whole game. I mean, we had the little bit of a hiccup where it hit the catcher and the run scored. But I mean, she's really spun the ball well. She's thrown that drop ball. She's hitting good spots. And she's throwing it up in the zone. And I mean, based on how JMU offensively has been playing this tournament, I think that she's keeping them in check pretty good. See her just spin that upstairs. Roadcap can't lay off it. I'd do that again.
As she did, ears were burning, heard you, And a strikeout for Autumn Humes, her second of the day.
And I feel like for the most part, Humes hasn't really had to change her game plan much. I mean, so pretty snapping that thing off, but she's been facing these hitters. She's second time through the lineup. Hasn't had to make a ton of adjustments, which means for JMU, I mean, you have to go up with the approach that, like, your next at bat, how can I be different? I don't want the same outcome. I want to. She's been hammering me on the inside part of the plate and then trying to beat me with that away. So what's going to be your game plan, your next at bat?
Humes a part of this pitching staff for the Wildcats, with Grace Ballman, the sophomore, and junior right-hander Larissa Spellman. Humes picked up that win against Utah. Had a couple of starts already this season against Oklahoma State and Houston. Now looking for a 1-2-3 inning, as this one flies high and out to left field, and she gets it. So Kentucky's bats need to come alive when we come back. Big things popping all weekend long for Florida State. The defending national champions haven't been able to keep the ball inside the park.
Oh man, Florida State, so fun to watch. They're able to fire on all cylinders. I mean, in the circle, they still have Megan King, the ace of last year's staff, helped them win that Women's College World Series National Championship. The only unbeaten team at this tournament. Big wins over OU, LSU, but the crazy thing is 11 home runs by 9 different players. Just shows the strength and power offensively that this team can bring.
Both Anna Shelnut and Danny Morgan have doubled up for a pair of Jacks, as they will be in action tonight against the Tennessee Lady Vols, number 6 in the country, and they've got a very consistent lineup as well. Some very good pitching too, with Maddie Moss, Kaylin Arnold, and a new freshman arm in Ashley Rogers. That should be a great matchup coming your way. 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2 to close things out here from Clearwater. Come charging in with Sarah Jubis to get the first batter of the inning.
And she's just testing the defense here. Jubis has to come up quick to get that ball on the second hop. Or first hop, excuse me. Comes up with a big leadoff out here.
We're on the final day of playing, and now I'm getting a little sad. As Kowalik flies out to left, simply because there are 39 games slated for the weekend. We've played a majority of them. Only just a few more to go before our big finale tonight.
But the beauty is it'll be back.
Yeah.
Coming in next year. Maybe there'll be some different teams. Hopefully I'm back so I can see you, right?
Yeah, because I don't get a chance to see you a lot during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Florida Atlantic looking on. They will face off against Florida State in just a little bit at 4 o'clock. Again, all games streaming live on the ESPN app. The Owls and their fans having fun, led by the legendary Joan Joyce. A giant in the game of softball. Two to Reed. Reed fouls it back. When we talk about the strong Kentucky defense, we used a big part of it right there. Had a couple of top 10 plays on SportsCenter's top 10 a season ago. We'll see if she can add to that total. 2-2 puts it in play. The opposite field hit drops in front of Hannah File. So the 2-out single for Katie Reed. It's the first hit given up by Megan Good.
She takes the 2-2 pitch on the outer half, popping in at 70 miles an hour. Just gets this enough, get it to right field. Puts the first hit up on the board.
Shaper, one of two players hit by a pitch, so a couple of been on base by way of both that and 2 walks given up by Good. But the first hit of the inning coming up in that last at bat. And Kentucky running low on chances here, down 1-0 in the top of the 5th. A nice snag deep in the hole. Jubas gets it over there, and Shaper beats it out.
I see you, 4.
Well, on the other field, Utah grabbing the lead back on the home run from Alyssa Palacios. That scores a trio of Utes, and they're on top, 6-3. Meanwhile, things could be getting interesting here as Megan Good giving up her first hit. First 2 hits of the ball game. And now runners at first and second for Kentucky.
2 outs. You got to force at any base. And I thought for a second Jubas with that throw might have been able to get her. She made a good stop on that, but 4 innings pitched so far and 2 hits have come this inning.
Abby Cheek, who reached on an error first time up, struck out her last at-bat. We mentioned earlier, chasing that home run title at Kentucky.
And there was an open base. So, I mean, I look at the situation with Cheek and just the type of player that she is, and I pitch careful. I mean, that is a hack. If you leave anything too close, that thing is going a mile. So I think if you're Megan Good, obviously you are very good, but we still have to respect the game and the fact that some hitters make those adjustments. So Megan Good's got to find those good spots. See her keeping it kind of way out of the zone a little bit. 3-1 count. Wouldn't put anything too sweet over the plate. Maybe throw a little change.
And instead, Abby Cheek loads the bases with a walk. And again, for these Kentucky batters who have really been silenced up until this point, this is the 3rd time now through the lineup and getting a chance to look at Megan Good.
Well, and based on how that at-bat just went down and with the coach coming out and having that conversation, I think putting her on isn't a bad decision. It just kind of opens up another base to have a force. Now you can go home. And why risk it? Not that Martins is not a power threat as well behind Cheek, but
so the biggest moment of the game for Kentucky, bases loaded, 2 outs for Alex Martins. Martins, this one near the bleachers, stays in, but nobody able to get to it. Martins had a 3-run homer against Hofstra on Friday. Helped Rachel Lawson pick up her 400th career win. How about a grand slam this time around for the lefty?
Spin it, kids, spin it.
1-1 from Good. Breezes that by her at 67 miles per hour.
I wouldn't mind with this 1-2 count. She can spin this rise ball tight, get it up underneath Martin's hands. Keep it out of the zone.
Instead, Martins lines it into right field. The diving attempt from Hannah Fowl can't bring it in. A bases clearing triple for Alex Martins.
It's 1-2 count. Rise ball doesn't go up enough. Barrels that thing up, takes it to right field. And I thought for a second Fowl had a chance. Infield can hurt you, outfield can kill you. And I think that those are the types of plays that are very difficult to make, but you want your outfielders to make those for you. Would have been an outstanding play, but
And it's not going to get any easier here with Martins clearing the bases. Mallory Peyton now up to bat. And the 3rd hit batter of the day for Megan Good. And Good handing the ball over to her All-American teammate Odyssey Alexander. Will come back to see if the Wildcats can continue to strike here. They're up 3-1. The afternoon for Megan Good is done in the circle. Through the first 4 innings, she did not give up a hit. Meanwhile, in this inning, we've seen 5 base runners, 3 hits, and that big triple from Alex Martins scoring Kentucky's all 3 runs here. And she's responsible for the 2 that are on base for the Wildcats now.
well, and the 3rd time through the lineup, Kentucky is too good to not make the adjustments, and that's exactly what happens. It started out with Katie Reed, the senior, getting on base, and then it just continued to go from there. The beauty of all of this is that it's been happening with 2 outs. She got first out in Vic and then Cowlick, and then it just kind of fell apart. But Odyssey Alexander has had a lot of experience. 2018 NCAA Player of the Year. This is what she's done so far in the season. See if she can come in, get the quick out.
Virginia native, again, we mentioned having a great weekend thus far. Second best ERA at 0.58. And isn't that a nice luxury to pass the ball from one All-American to another in the circle?
And you have to love it. I mean, she was playing first base, and she comes in and pumps 2 strikes right away. She's obviously been warming up, so in case this situation were to happen, but you love the fact that, hey, I'll just step into the circle from first.
Yeah, let me flip-flop with my teammate Megan Good, who's now over at first base. Pretty nice, and how about she rings up the lookout strikeout. But not before the Wildcats take the lead. They're on top, 3-1. So, welcome back to the 2019 St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. I want to be where he is, and perhaps we'll get there a little bit sooner.
You will.
Yeah. And 3 runs put up by the Wildcats, and now the pressure back on JMU as they held the lead through 4 innings. We'll see what their bats can do with the bottom of the order coming up in Cutright, Nyokas, and Lomax.
Cutright, her last at bat with that big double she laced to center field. 1-2 count. She took that thing straight away.
Now with Humes pitching with the lead. Again, outside that pass ball, which is an earn and run for her. She's done a good job against these Dukes batters.
She's really mixed that ball well, and her drop ball has a lot of spin on it, so she's been able to toy with getting that for a strike and then being able to throw it and keep it down in the zone. See her line there, 2 hits so far.
And she's 2-hit JMU to this point. A lot of balls put in play to her infield. Just along the fence, and Abby Cheek is right there. She's been there all game long.
Yeah, she's gotten a ton of action over there at third base. It's a nice little leadoff out if you're Humes. See Cheek heading over, trying to find the fence. Look what I found. You gotta love the excitement. Especially not a whole lot of outs left. Lead outs are pretty key last couple innings of a game.
How does getting the lead batter out really set the tone or help set things up for the rest of the inning if you're a pitcher?
Yeah, it's just one step closer to getting out of the inning, right? And I think with all the damage that happened last inning on Megan Good, there was 2 outs. She still wasn't able to get out of that. So it's really, yeah, you want to try to get outs, but you need to close the door all the way through. So the lead outs just give you that little extra pep in your step on the mound, and you still got a job to do. Got to be efficient, get ahead, and try to get out of the inning.
And when you're pitching with the lead, it helps to give you a little extra bit of confidence in the circle. Humes delivering the 1-2. And this one popped up and just out of play on the other side of the screen into the stands. once again, fouling it back. Father Chris played in the major leagues from 94 to 97. And Humes gets her to chase down low. 2 down.
I think this is the best that I've seen Humes drop ball work. You see that thing tailing, but that extra bite on the inside part of the plate, that late movement is very tough to hit. I love how she's working to set up these other pitches, gets a couple foul balls, lets that thing run late on the inside part of the plate, comes up with a big strikeout.
Lexi Lomax foul tips that. And JMU opening their season here at the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational presented by Wilson. Final game for both of these teams. On the Ports group. Expected to win the CAA once again. But wins this weekend against top 25 teams only help to bolster your RPI and your resume later into the season. The 2-2, and that's foul back.
It's so important to play these top-ranked teams right out of the gate. Obviously for preparation for your team, but for the RPI piece, because it does play such a huge factor in the postseason and where you're going to get seeded.
And Humes catches Lomax looking. So after JMU put up 1 run, the response from Autumn Humes retiring the last 11 batters. Held scoreless through 4 innings until Alex Martins swings the bat. Bases clearing triple. Allows the Wildcats to take the lead late. And Martins is today's offensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson. Yeah, you gotta wheel that thing out, girl.
Well, and she's batting behind Abby Cheek for a reason. There's been many times where Cheek has been put on because someone would rather face the next hitter. So you want to make sure you can put someone behind Cheek that can step up in the big situations, and that's exactly what Martins did.
JMU pitchers faced 8 batters in that last inning. Alexander able to strike out the first Wildcat she saw. Kelsey Hansen as Lauren Johnson lines it out to short.
The next batter, number 2, Haley Vick.
Vick. Well, oftentimes we'll hit in the leadoff spot either there or in the 9-hole to turn things over, as Rachel Lawson looking to shore up this lineup moving into March. Kentucky 5-5 on the season, looking to leave Clearwater at an even 500. They open this weekend on Valentine's Day with heartbreak, being run-ruled by number 3 Oklahoma. Came back to win against Hofstra and Utah before dropping a tough one to Texas. A walk-off win for the Longhorns. But that didn't sit with them for too long. And yesterday, they were able to win 12-3 over Oregon.
I think the one that shocks me the most was the Oklahoma. I wasn't expecting them to get run ruled by them. I think Kentucky is always a team that can beat anyone, and that happened late. OU scored a lot of late runs. It was pretty close, and then all of a sudden the wheels kind of fell off later on in the game. This is definitely, I mean, you hate to call them a sniper team, but you look at the SEC and some of these teams. I mean, Tennessee, you look at Florida. But I think Kentucky is definitely a team that if you were to get them in postseason, you better watch out.
And just the miscue from the shortstop, Jubis, the E6.
Next batter, number 99.
And I think you can't forget about, of course, LSU. Arkansas can make a little noise as well. I mean, so many teams out of the SEC are so tough. And how does that ripen you as a team to be able to play that competition week in and week out as you head into the postseason?
Well, that's what prepares you to do your best. I mean, the postseason's a grind, but I think when you're just getting beat up in conference, it's nice to be done with it and move on and say, we've been battle tested, now it's time to go and just let it all out. And the postseason is kind of that time when you want to play free and use what you've learned throughout a season, and just kind of move forward. But even take a look at the SEC Women's College World Series titles. There's been 3 since 2012. They've put themselves on the map. 26 NCAA bids since 2017. I mean, all 13 in the field have gone to the postseason.
Quite honestly, you're used to seeing a Southeastern Conference team in the finals. Last year was the first time in a little while, as it was Florida State taking down Washington. Kowalik, and this time Jubis is sure-handed. Vic now at second in scoring position, 2 away. Katie Reed at the plate. Reed singled her last time up.
And Reed, the type of player that is so scrappy. I mean, you go back to when the rally started with Megan Good out in the circle. There was 2 outs up on the board when she stepped into the batter's box, got on base, and just continued to pass the bat. You love it when teams are able to do that with 2 outs. I think that's so important. It just shows the fight that they have and the ability to pass the bat and just show how contagious it is. One person gets a hit, all right, let's go. See that energy?
Line that sharply in the left field stands. All weekend long, you got to keep your head on a swivel if you're a fan. Balls flying everywhere from different fields. Pulls it foul again. Alexander gets Reed to chase way out there. So JMU now with 6 outs to go. Top of the order coming up. Where's our Holly Rowe? Could she be windsurfing? You just never know. Come back with us to Clearwater. The Wildcats' third baseman, Abby Cheek, has been locked down on that corner.
Yeah, and you see her, she's getting a ton of action today, and she's just been consistent. She's made the routine ground ball plays a lot, and we haven't seen that a ton this tournament. There's been a lot of little miscues, this being the opening season for some, but Cheek is on the ball. And for that, she is our defensive MVP, brought to you by Wilson.
And Cheek did Reed, Martins, Peyton. Such a good group of infielders. And an extra piece of insurance for the pitchers in the circle to know their teammates have their back. They were top 12 in the country last year with a .977 fielding percentage, and they return everybody.
Leave that down there.
Defense so good. You talked about errors. They've played almost error-free softball. Turned 4 double plays this weekend as Wildcats defense. And Kate Gordon flies out to left field, 1 down. Well, this is how this game has played out thus far. It was JMU who got on the board first after a pass ball by Kentucky, but then it was the Wildcats that roared right back with a 3-run triple from Alex Martins.
Martins came up and seemed like an intentional but unintentional walk to Abby Cheek, and she stepped up in the big situation and was able to come up with, only thing better would have been a home run. She got that triple, scored 3 runs on that big triple from her bat.
Look there at Martins, the second baseman, but I think also too you have to point out that Humes, who has only given up 2 hits, as Kate Gordon, for instance, quiet. She hit 3 home runs yesterday against Tennessee, 0 for 3 today.
Yeah, I think that she's just done such a terrific job hitting great spots. Her ball's moving like crazy. I mean, that backdoor curve, that drop ball, mixing speeds a little bit. Her drop into righties has been nasty. See her line right there, 2 hits on the day. Seems like it's been more than 4 Ks just because she has been throwing so lights out.
Remember, she got her start at Harding University before moving up to the SEC, and you saw from last year getting to face some competition like your LSUs, your Texas A&Ms, your Georgias. She's come back in her junior season, and you see the improvement.
All right, Deuce, let's go, Deuce.
Giving chase for that one is Kayla Kowalik, closing in on it and able to nab it for out number 2. Through the first 3 innings, we saw a lot of balls kept on the infield. Now we're seeing second and third time around to see Humes, James Madison lift it into the outfield a little bit more. Now to see Alexander. Takes ball 1. Alexander over to Cheek, and then the throw over, and Peyton unable to handle it. And so the first error of the game. And Abby Cheek, I think we may have jinxed her. That announcer's jinx always gets in the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a routine ball hit to her, and Peyton not able to handle that hop, but I think Cheek needs to make a cleaner throw.
Isn't that how it always happens? Like, as soon as you say, oh, you know, they're throwing a no-hitter, boom, they give up a hit, or, oh, they haven't made any errors, and makes us eat our words.
I have a tough time saying a pitcher's got a no-hitter going in the booth. I usually let the play-by-play take that.
It's a thing. Yeah. More importantly, though, for JMU, the tying run comes to the plate and Megan Good. And you know she has the power to lift it out of here. So if you're Autumn Humes, you've got to be careful, because you just flash back to yesterday and Megan Good took Maddie Moss opposite field.
Yeah, she has so much power, and she's got to be in the mindset right now of, I want to help the cause. Those runs up on the board are her runs, so it's always nice to be able to step in and try to redeem yourself somehow. Not that you need to hit a home run to win this game, it's not that, but just passing the bat, trying to hit something through the infield to score Arnold and just get the ball rolling.
Big chance for Megan Good to either cut away at this lead or tie it up. Kirsten Roadcap on deck. And then Hannah File in the hole, who has had one of 2 hits off of Humes today.
When having a 2-0 count here with Good up to bat, you don't want to bring anything too much over that white or heart of the plate.
Here we go, Kid.
3-0 from Humes. And 4 straight balls. Good takes first base. And now the go-ahead run at the plate from Kirsten Roadcap.
And I don't mind that put on of Megan Good. I know we're early in the season, so it's why not go and attack. But this is a big game, and it matters who wins. And I think having that potential open base puts the winning run at home plate, but ultimately it needs to come down to, when you're in the circle, what's your comfort level of who you're throwing to? So does Humes feel more confident throwing to Roadcap, striking her out her last at bat, or does she want to throw to Megan Good, who's probably one of the best players on their team? So ultimately it comes down to the comfort and that feeling you get in your gut of, how am I going to attack this?
Just jammed the toss over from Martins over to Katie Reed, and able to get out of that one without giving up any runs. Kentucky leads. Hofstra taking on Utah, and hey, Haley Hilburn, she's got 2 runners on. She knocks the double down the line, and that's gonna do it. Wraps up everything as the Utes walk away with a win. There's more to come here from the Eddie Seymour Complex, as Florida State will have a doubleheader, first against Florida Atlantic, and then you could catch them on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern against Tennessee. Well, the early season storylines for a team that's coming off a national championship is, can they repeat? We understand that the road to the Women's College World Series is difficult, even more so with a target on your back.
Yeah, I mean, when you win a national championship, it's right away. Can you do it again? Can you do it again? And I mean, the best thing you can do is go out like Florida State has done this weekend and just like hush the haters, right? And it's just because everyone wants, I mean, you dislike saying it, but everyone wants you to fail. And everyone doesn't want you to win it again, and other than your Florida State peeps, but I think it shows signs of a true champion when you're able to just not even let that phase you mentality-wise. And Coach Alameda is the head of the ship, and you look at the past national championships in the last 10 years. I mean, Pac-12, it's been a while.
Yeah, for the Pac-12, you were the last.
Arizona State, last time.
That's right. You did it back in 2009, and for Florida State, they won the first title for the ACC. It'll be interesting to see how each of the conferences, shape up. A lot of shake up around the world of college softball. SEC always strong. Pac-12 for a long time helped to carry the sport. So many champions coming out that way, but now the Big 12 can make things a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I think Texas could be a team that, with the experienced players that they were able to bring over from Oregon, especially in the circle of Miranda Ellis, she's a competitor, and I love watching her throw, and she fires me up. And Kentucky last year played against Oregon in the Super Regional, and I was fortunate enough to call it. Did you take a look at the Big 12? And G. Juarez transferred over from Arizona State, and you had the Pac-12 Mike White head over to Texas. The Pac-12 just, I guess, wanted to make the Big 12 better.
You can't forget about Oklahoma State, who is a program on the rise as well. They were here this weekend under the leadership of Kenny Gajewski. They finished in the top 2 of the Big 12 a year ago, but certainly the conference has strengthened with some of the new blood. And you said you had the opportunity to call Kentucky's Super Regional last year in Eugene. Of course, they gave the Ducks a run for their money, winning that first game before dropping the next 2.
Yeah, that was intense, because I remember you could hear a pin drop when that happened after game 1 of that Friday night. It was that brand new stadium in Oregon. It's just the fan support that they have, and Kentucky came in with swagger, and game 1 was pretty crazy.
That one hit hard but foul. Jane Sanders Stadium, a lot of excitement around there. The new facilities now with nearly a dozen newcomers to the team. And Jenny Shaper drives that one deep into center field. And off the scaffolding, it's Jenny Shaper who rocks it for a solo shot.
And what you love about this at-bat, 13 pitches Shaper was able to battle off. Sooner or later, she was going to get connected. It was a matter of time. Change-up left too much over the plate. Dead center. See you later.
Shaper, who already had 4 doubles this weekend, now adds a solo shot here. And this is, again, a welcome sign for Rachel Lawson in this lineup, given the fact that she made a major improvement last year. Saw a lot more gap power in there. Saw her take it out to the deepest part of the field, and now hardly hit back up the middle from Abby Cheek. So solid contact made by both Shaper and Cheek with no outs here in the top of the 7th. Whew. Coming off that bat, firing.
So much power. That third time, fourth time you get to face pitchers, these hitters are warmed up.
And we have talked about just, over the weekend, how we were looking forward to matchups and, who's going to play who and what are we going to see out of here. In your mind, you kind of characterize this as a super regional type feel. Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, both these teams are great teams, and JMU, the fact that they have Megan Good back in the circle, I mean, that's key. That's the key to their success. Without Megan Good, I don't think they make a huge postseason push. And then with Kentucky, I mean, for them, it's really all about the circle. We know that they can hit. They have the experience defensively. They have Katie Reed. They have Cheek. Martin's in the infield. Like, they have that piece. But it's, can they do it in the circle? And, I mean, they have Ballman, who's only a sophomore this year. You love that Humes is coming out and having the performance she's having today. But ultimately, it always comes down to, are you sound in the circle?
Martins put him on top the last time. She says, let me add to that run total. The 2-run shot from Alex Martins. After going 0 for 2 in her first 2 at-bats, she's been lighting it up the last 2.
And coming in, she already had some swagger from that 3-run RBI triple, but hey, let me just add a 2-run bomb to the mix. See her turn on this right to the sweet spot. So much bat sweep through the zone. UK putting on a show.
And nothing sweeter than that sound as we're going to take a quick break. Looks like James Madison making a pitching change. We'll introduce you to the Duke's new hurler when we come back. Well, the sophomore Peyton Beresch, the CAA Rookie of the Year a season ago, is back at it again, and she comes on in relief for Odyssey Alexander.
Take a look at her line. 6 innings pitched on the season. 3rd string pitcher for this team. Megan Good getting beat up just a little bit. 2nd time through the lineup, excuse me, and then they brought in Odyssey, and she came out red hot. And this Kentucky offense is very difficult to go through unscathed, and you look at that, when they score runs, they win, and those numbers are crazy. I think UK is a team that is going to do some serious damage this year.
I would agree with that. Can't hold them down for too long. And you talked about the importance of just passing the bat. Katie Reed started that back in the 5th inning, down 0-1. And it was then, with 2 outs, she got a hit. Jenny Shaper followed up, and then it continued.
Well, and those are the players that do that. Katie Reed is that senior. She's experienced so much. She comes up with 2 outs, is scrappy, sees a lot of pitches, puts the ball in play, and starts the rally against Megan Good. And then from there, it just was completely different. And it's okay when you struggle your first couple at bats against an amazing pitcher like Megan Good, but it's how you are your 3rd at bat, 4th at bat.
And the first out of the inning for Kentucky after a solo home run from Jenny Shaper. Led it off here. Then Alex Martins with the encore 2-run home run.
Next batter,
And we see a pinch hitter coming up to bat, Clay Branson, a freshman out of Union, Kentucky. And Branson hit by the pitch. How many batters have been hit by a pitch today? 4 today?
4 hit by a pitch from Kentucky's end.
next batter, number 1, Sarah Rainwater.
And that's just the inexperience in the circle, right? Like you have a pinch hitter that's coming in. She's coming off the bench, hasn't played, is nowhere near warm as everyone else, and first pitch you hit her. Got to go right at those types of players when they've been sitting. I mean, we're in the 7th inning.
Sarah Rainwater replaced Lauren Johnson out in right field. One of 5 seniors for the Wildcats. They've made 10 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Talk about how tough the SEC is. Have yet to win an SEC regular season or tournament title. We start out with 1 All-American in the circle for JMU, Megan Good, who had the lead going into the 5th before giving up a big hit as Rainwater draws the base on ball. Their teammate, Odyssey Alexander, comes in relief.
Next batter, number 2, Bailey
And
Vick.
she too has given up 3 runs. That's how we run the total to 6 for Kentucky. Here's Bailey Vick. To see this crowd out here after sold out yesterday and lined out right to the third baseman. Back in time, not so, as the double play turned by the Duke's defense. So their final 3 outs coming up. They've got a big hill to climb, down by 5. 6-1 Kentucky lead moving into the bottom half of the 7th. JMU with their 6, 7, and 8 batters on the way. So the bottom of the order got their work cut out for them. And a foul. Who singled and scored the only run for the Dukes, leading off. Boy, what a terrific game that Autumn Humes has pitched.
She's just done such a good job of being consistent the whole game. And JMU really hasn't made much of an adjustment, but she's such a good down ball pitcher with the combination of that backdoor curve that she just threw right there. She's just a lot of fun to watch, and she's been consistent.
just over 100 pitches for the junior in the circle. The grounder just gets past the outstretched arm of Abby Cheekso, and a foul leadoff single for the Dukes.
And for JMU, this is what you want to do. Just get a leadoff on base and just continue to try to pass the bat.
I like that, Danielle. It's like you got bars. JMU, that's what you try to do. Come on, you hit with one more.
Oh, I got nothing.
Oh, I was waiting for you. We were ready. Here's Natalie Cutright, who doubled in her first plate appearance against Humes. And this one popped up into shallow left field, 1-0 as we welcome in my girl. What's happening? Caleb Bro, thank you for joining the broadcast.
Well, thanks for having me. I heard you guys needed a little bit of relief. I heard Danielle might not be able to finish this game. Need to bring in a relief commentator.
That is what's happening. I love it. So now I get an All-American and Caleb Bro on the broadcast with me. This is fun.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, safe travels for Danielle. Headed back to Seattle. We've had a chance to take in a lot of softball games this weekend as JMU trying to mount a comeback here, working with just 2 outs. Your thoughts?
Well, I can tell you're watching this tournament. I think there's so much parity in this game. We've seen so many upsets, and JMU is a great example. They upset Tennessee, and then here we are, Kentucky, up 6-1 in the 7th inning. I mean, this game is, every game matters, right? And different hitters are going to adjust differently to pitchers. Kentucky clearly got a hold of Megan Good a little bit in the beginning of this game, whereas Tennessee really didn't.
And now it's starting to look like you think Autumn Humes might be getting a little tired again over the century mark for pitches, and she's only given up 3 hits. And over to second. Can they turn the double play? Not in time, but they do get the lead runner at second.
Yeah, Sundays are the hardest day for these pitchers and endurance-wise for these players. You're not used to playing this many games in a weekend. And this is a nice job by Kentucky. I tell you, Katie Reed makes this a lot closer. And she's one of the best shortstops in the country, and she flips this ball as quickly as she can, but just too much speed down the line. And JMU's staying alive.
They're not done yet, as we've seen a lot of 2-out rallies all throughout the weekend. And now Lindsay Meeks, the pinch hitter, coming up.
Now, this James Madison team has the opportunity to upset anybody in the country if Megan Good's having a good day. They have some talent and they have some pop in the lineup. And the same goes for Kentucky. I mean, they're a talented team as well.
And this one over to Martins. She handles it, and it's done. Ball game. Kentucky with a 6-1 victory over JMU. The 25th ranked Dukes fall for just their 2nd loss of the season. So Kentucky now with a winning record at 6-5, as they have been tested all weekend long here from the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. There's more action to come your way. Remember, number 6 Tennessee taking on 2nd ranked Florida State, the defending national champs, in action at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. The final score, 6-1. So for Danielle Laurie, Caleb Bro, who came in the MVP late, and our entire crew, I'm Tiffany Green, saying so long.